Good morning. I'm Jeff Prater. I'm the Director of Library Resources, and today we're going to talk about OER textbooks for your instruction. Please join us also next week when we're going to be talking about just other kinds of OER resources. Okay? And this is designed so you can follow along. You can use the PowerPoint and just go to the library webpage. But what our objectives are today is we're going to understand what the library's role is in open education resources and helping you find that. So it's kind of a different angle. It's now helping doing librarianship for faculty and curriculum, which is a little bit of a change of a role. We're going to review the 4 R's of OERs and Creative Commons licensing. When we're looking at it, we always have to look, the first thing we have to look at is the permissions. How is the author giving us permission to use that? And can we change that item? Can we share that item? Those are some of the important things. We're going to explore the different portals for textbooks, and I'm going to give you the opportunity. I'm hoping to be done with this in about half an hour to 35 minutes as far as the instruction. There's an activity afterwards that you have to complete for the credit, and that will analyze, that'll give you the opportunity to go in and analyze the different resources for textbooks for instructional use. All right, so what we can do to assist you, we can help you locate the materials and for your instruction in Canvas shells. We can help you interpret the Creative Commons licenses. We can reuse, remix. We can help you in using those resources appropriately. And we can also, we're going to head to this eventually, not right off the bat, but we're also talk about maybe in the future looking at reviewing our authoring opportunities in open textbooks. When I talk about in Tech Open today, there is an opportunity there already if you want to become a guest editor that you can join in. So what are the 4 R's of OERs? One is to revise, adapt, and improve a material for your needs. To remix, to reuse, and again, to redistribute. Pardon me. And a lot of OERs use Creative Commons licenses. However, not everyone does, and some of the resources that I'm showing you are going to have different kinds of permissions. When we look at MIT, they don't put the symbols on every page. When we look at MIT courseware, that gives you in their policy, they say unless otherwise noted, it is this kind of Creative Commons, and we'll discuss that when we discuss the resource. But if it does not give you permission, then it will say so. It will say Professor such and such asked that you contact them before using it. Okay, so we have the different signs, the licensing types, and those are the symbols for them. And in the PowerPoint, I've highlighted what exactly do these things mean. And so attribution means that you have to give credit for the work. Share alike. You can share the modified work on the same terms that you have seen there or used it before. Another important one is non-commercial. That is, unless otherwise noted, if it's not labeled non-commercial, a business can take a free resource, repackage it, and go to sell it. So if you don't give that kind of permission, that's what that refers to. It doesn't refer to use in a classroom. We'll let you take your seat. Okay, non-derivatives. Non-derivatives means that if you have If there is a work available, the author doesn't want you to change it. So that would be one that they would not want you to mix up. And so just a little quiz, just to get you warmed up on the different symbols. I've numbered the I've numbered our Creative Commons below, so, or on the right-hand side of each one. So you can see there's 6 different symbols here for, or 6 different sets of symbols for different licenses. But you can see now which numbers, looking at this, shout out your answers. Which ones in here do not want you to alter their work? Make a derivative, no derivative. 3, and what else? 6, yes. So if the author had that, maybe they put a worksheet up. They said you can use the worksheet, but if you want to alter it, you have to contact that person, or you're not allowed to. There's several on the right-hand side. You can see there's several different. No commercial use, 4, 5, and 6. And we'll move on. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and move towards with the lights off, I can't see over here now. All right. So on the library webpage again, under for faculty, there is a link to the open education resources that we're focusing on to start at VIU. If you have searched the resources and you can't find what you're looking for, please contact me, and then we'll move. I'll look at additional resources, because there are plenty of open education resources out there, but we focused on a set to get us off the ground. All right, first one, I'm going to switch over from the PowerPoint and go live. So our first one is the Open Textbook Library. And you have a couple different ways that you can search this. You can browse the subjects here if you'd like. You can just enter your term in a search box. The subjects are also down here, and these are their latest books and their most recent reviews. So I'm just going to open one just to show you what it looks like. In the Open Textbook Library, let's go to one with reviews. Here's a book in e-marketing. Okay, it has 9 reviews. It received 4.5 stars. You can open those reviews. In the Open Textbook Library, they tend to be other professors, so you can read what they wrote to get an idea if you would like to use it. This book only comes in a PDF format. Going back to look, this one comes in PDF and print. And in some of them, they come in formats. They can come in a PDF version, a Kindle version, an EPUB, which is a software used for ebooks, and Mobi. Okay, you have tables of contents here. And here they have the license on how you can open or use the book. So this one seems to be available online, but If you wanted to take just a chapter, you can just go into the table of contents and link to the chapter and use it that way. All right. So our next one I'm going to look at is something called the OER Commons. There's a couple different ways to search it. You can sign in and register to leave comments if you'd like. You can use the search box here. I'd also like to point out that you can pick the grade level. So are you are you looking for materials for a lower division course or an upper division course or a graduate? You can select those. I also recommend, if you want to do a browse, you can go to Resources, go up here to Discover Resources, and then go into open up the resources, and there's all your results per the subject. And then on the left-hand side, you can narrow your search, again, by looking for entering it into the grade level and the material type. In this case, we're looking at textbooks for this week. So you just select textbook and see what comes up. And here you can see there's ratings. There is a way to read the rating. Well, I don't know if there's comments allowed. But if you open up the resource, you then have the different you can rate yourself, yeah, so it doesn't look like you can leave. Oh, you can write a review. Okay. Let's go to another one. All right, this one links to the presentations. I'm not sure if it limited only to textbooks. But you can see here, it's another resource used, and it's used for all grade levels. So it's not always the best one, but it's very good. Our next one would be Merlot, and with Merlot, you can log in as a professor. You can sign up for Merlot for free. The sign up gives you the ability to write your own reviews if you would like, or leave comments. And I highly suggest that you search this way. I want to highlight a few things. Before we talked about the ability that some of these free resources can be offered for money or for cost, and so somebody can take that and repackage it and try to sell it if that restriction has not been applied in the permissions. So what I highly suggest is going over here to cost involved and taking out cost involved if we want to avoid those resources. We can take that out, and that's noted on the PowerPoint. Over here, if you're just looking for textbooks, you'll select textbooks, and it's up to you. If you want to just do a general search at this point and look up everything, you may. If you only want to do things that have either editor reviews or has peer reviews, you may. You may limit that. It's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and do a search. Let's pick a topic. So this is pulled open access textbooks. You can see the peer reviews, and then you can go to the material. And on the left-hand side, You have the table of contents. And this is going into our next resource. So this is popped into OpenStax. But Merlot, there's a lot of different sources that go into Merlot. It was founded by all the universities in California, or the public universities, coming together to create free resources. You can see on the left-hand side you have a number of different things. You could order a print copy of the book if you so wanted. You can download a PDF. You can download on iBooks, or you can download for your Kindle as well. And then there's also instructor resources that go along with that activity. And here we see one. This resource has only been given 2 stars, but it's laid out. It's an online source, and what it does is it lays out all the chapters, and you can link to them. So let's say you're teaching a unit, and you have to review statistics for some reason, or some aspect of statistics. You can just go back. What are the fundamentals of probability? And if you wanted to, just link to that chapter, and then that's something you could put in. So you don't have to use the entire textbook. If the permission's there, you may use just parts of it. Now we'll move over to OpenStax. With OpenStax, this is from Rice University. They have a number of other resources, but they're free textbooks online. They're openly licensed, and they're 100% free. They have about 29 available. They don't have a great breadth of topics, but this would probably help out the general education department the most. And I just opened one just a minute ago, and it linked from Merlot actually. So I'm not going to re-show that, but it's another opportunity. At first, our next resource is called InTech Open, and it might be a little deceiving. It doesn't specifically focus just on technology books. So originally I was just pulling this up to show the computer science folks. But if you hit books and then go to the bottom of the page, there's all the different subjects, and you can pick one and move from there. I'm going to demonstrate a computer science book. And what you see here are the number of open access books. These are peer reviewed, and they're open access. They're not Creative Commons, but they are open access for you to use. The other important thing is that this resource is recognized by the Web of Science and their citations, which is a very expensive database and company that does a lot of citations, and it marks how many times the resource is used throughout. And you can see there's over 7,000 Web of Science citations for the computer science. And then below you have your subtopics. So artificial intelligence, they have 43 different books. You can open that up. If you'd like to order a hard copy, you can do so, and that's at your own expense. And then you can see down here there's chapters. It's divided into chapters, and then you can use those chapters as you wish. Link those into your Canvas. Now also you can see if it has citations in other works, you can see how many times that's been cited. This one's been cited once. Does this have? And the other thing, a lot of them have these editorials that's written by one of the editors. Since it's a peer-reviewed process, the book, if you want to submit work to this, you may, and that will go to a peer-reviewed board, be reviewed, and then they decide if they can include that or not, if you need to revise it, and then they'll upload it for you. In some cases, they may ask if anybody wants to open or add chapters. There'll be a link over here, or there also might be a link if you would like to also be part of the peer-reviewed process on the other end, reading materials coming in. So I clicked on this search for books open for chapter submissions. So you can click on this to go through the resources as well. And if you decide, hey, I really like this resource, but I have a chapter or I have some knowledge that I'd like to add to it, you may. And our last two are focused on MIT Open Courseware. And what I recommend, now MIT Open Courseware, like I mentioned before, unless otherwise noted, uses the Creative Commons license, and it just says, unless otherwise noted, you can use this, you can share it, and you can modify it. In some cases, though, that these are open courses. They're not for credit from MIT, but the knowledge is put out. I'm going to focus on online textbooks right here. And you can see here's the different departments. And then you can either have to filter one more time. I'm going to focus on graduate books for online. And you simply open up, and then here in this case, they have the course notes and the readings. And course notes are courtesy. Here's the person, and this person's asking that they're used with permission. So, but you can see in this case, there's different chapters, and they're available in PDF format. And I do know that there are some teaching English as second language resources I ran across as well. So I'll leave that for you to explore. And the last one is for our computer science folks. This is an additional resource. And here you'll go to resources, and then here's the list of the different resources. If you just want to use computer science, you may. And then the links are out here. So I've clicked on computer science, and here's the different things. So if we're looking at data processing, the tough thing about AMSR stands for the Applied Math and Science Education Repository, that this is a repository funded by the National Science Foundation, and it comes in from a lot of different resources. So in some cases, there are permissions, and you have to look very carefully at the permissions. But I'm not seeing here. Yeah, here's a couple of reviews, a couple 1 stars. But to go to the information, you just simply click, and in some cases it might be a PDF. It might also be an online book that might be broken down into different parts. And here's the record. So over here it says access rights. You can see when you open up the metadata down here in the access right, it's free access. And if you'd like to do a search that only pulls up free access or an advanced search, you may do that as well. And you'll have to open up the resource. And over here, access rights, you can pick, just what free access or free access with registration, and then put in your search term and go ahead and do another search. All right, at this point, I'm going to stop. Are there any questions at this point? No?
I guess I'm just wondering here, if we find an article from a book or compilation research work that could be useful in lectures,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's open access, then we just go ahead and yank that chapter off and share it with the class.
Yes, that's the idea. Is that the idea is that you can share this with other if the permissions are given and there's a share alike permission and you can take the resource and either upload it whole, or if maybe you like part of the chapter or you find part of a video, you can, if the permission's there, you can remix it or do what you want with it. But the idea is to get around copyright. As you know, in your area, Harvard Business Review, wonderful resource, but to use it, we have to pay $4.20 a student for each article that we link to. So there's an expense to it. So that if we find other resources that are given permission in the open education resources to get around the copyright and the cost issues.
So unless we actually get the article and then provision it to the student, either by copying or directing or giving them a link, but the student themselves cannot do that directly. They cannot go to those resources and get it.
They can. I don't, a lot of them just require registration. Well, the OpenStax will not. The OpenStax, you have to be an instructor or an employee of the university. But yeah, you could put it in a syllabus and say, go to this resource and look it up. And the students can look it up as well. I think it would be easier if it's possible to link to it.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
How about, for example, you have to pay to get some article from Business Review, but sometimes you will get that article online free, like somewhere else. Can you share that article to your student, which you got online? So instead of getting it from Harvard Business Review,
right,
sometimes the same article will be available online.
Well, there are a number of repositories, and I'm trying to think, what's the one? Is it ResearchGate? So ResearchGate has on there, these articles are to help you in your research, but you have to look at local copyright laws. So if what I suggest you do, if you have a question, is go into For Faculty and go into the Copyright Clearance Center. I'm going to open that up. And then you can enter the term, and it will tell you what the permissions are. So if you have a question and looking at a publication, so academic, so businesses can print, they can print digital. Oh, this is the e-journal. This is the journal. So here we're not allowed, for us, academics are not allowed to make this part of course packs or classroom. I'm looking at the Harvard Business Review, which I've talked about previously. You're not allowed to add that without having to pay for it. And then there is a permissions way to do that. But what we're focusing on is trying to find other resources that are good and we can incorporate into the class that are free of this restriction. All right, is there any other questions? I thought I saved it on my...
I think was it the other day I came by your office to ask for a little insight as to when we actually hope to launch this OEM transition.
Uh-huh.
There's a timeline, right?
You're allowed, what I'm doing, over the summer we've been asked to update our courses and reevaluate our courses. So the idea is that you can go into it immediately. I'm just giving you a little more instruction on how to go there. As far as I would talk to your deans as far as project deadlines and things like that. But yeah, you're allowed to go ahead and get into it right away. Oh, this is slow. All right, so a reminder, next week, I'm trying to pull up the flyer. It didn't come up. So next week I'm going to be focusing not on textbooks, but I'm going to look at the same resources and see if we can come up with some examples like simulations or different things, but other ways that maybe there's lesson plans or the different articles and things like that that you can use for your instruction. That's what we'll be focused on next week. That will be at the same time, 11 o'clock, and I'll try to remember to be in the right room this time. I had sent out via email an assignment, and you don't have to do it now. You can if you'd like, and very simply, do I have the assignment here? I attached it to the last two email announcements that came out, and with that activity you can is this it? The activity is just finding two resources and just working through the questions. And I've sent you a soft copy so you can answer that. You can type in your answers, put in the links if you'd like, and then from there email it to me. My email's on the worksheet. But at this point I'm going to cut off the video.